So welcome everyone to the January meeting of Darien TV79. We're the test group for our hybrid tool to, if any groups want to have a hybrid meeting. We're testing the CanDAO. This is the first test, so we'll see how it goes. We're recording. Brianna's recording regularly, and we're recording on this as backup. Dave Deaver just got his video working, and so in theory, I can. I'm afraid to turn off my computer, but in theory, my computer doesn't have to be on. But right now, we're not getting any audio through the CanDAO, and I think it's because when I set it up, I pressed the wrong button because I wanted to get permission to record any audio, and I said no. So that may be why we're not getting any audio, but we'll find out when I play the tape back. So first thing on the agenda, the approval of the minutes that were circulated. Dennis circulated after the last meeting.
Beautiful minutes.
Any objections?
Yeah,
Thank you for the timestamps.
second.
Timestamps too, wow.
The approval of the minutes are approved. This is the first meeting of the year, so we have to have the election of officers, which are a president and a clerk.
Chairman?
Is it chairman?
Yeah.
So it's called chairman, not president, chairman, and clerk. Not any nominations for chair?
I nominate Mike Wheeler as chairman.
Second.
All in favor? Thank you very much. Nominations for clerk. I nominate Dennis.
Are you up for this again, Dennis?
As long as it's still just taking minutes?
Yeah,
is
just
it?
take a minute, that's it.
Yeah, I can do it.
Second that.
All in favor of Dennis Cummings for clerk? Congratulations, Dennis.
Thank you very much.
Programming update, Jim.
Okay, I circulated a copy of the fourth quarter report, which I shared, actually Mike shared in my absence on Tuesday with the Board of Selectmen. Viewership remains strong, down a little bit compared to the previous year. The fourth quarter also included the campaign season, and some of the biggest draws were the state senate debates that were carried, we carried, but were shot by the Norwalk League of Women Voters. The Darien League of Women Voters, for any number of reasons, decided not to hold any debates last fall. So we were grateful to our friends in Norwalk for those. The Board of Selectmen meetings, the meeting about the flag policy debate scored off the charts. State of the Town address, the 12th of December, also heavily viewed. The program guide continues to have about a 60% open rate. We're roughly still at about 1,145 opt-in recipients. I'll let Cecil speak about website traffic, but the website has seen a lot more activity, because what we've been doing is sending people in the program guide, for example, not to the Vimeos of meetings, but to the website versions of the meetings. So on the program guide, it'll say, Board of Selectmen meeting runs 45 minutes, here's the agenda, and it used to say, here's the Vimeo, now it says, here's the video. So I've seen some metrics, maybe Cecil has seen others. We can look at individual meetings and see where the viewership was. Was it directly on Vimeo, or was it on the TV79 website? And more of it is moving over there. My hope is that that's going to expose people to the website and see its improved functionality, its search function, and then maybe search around in there and see what else there is as well too. Strong viewership also on YouTube and Facebook when we stream meetings there or archive them. Staffing remains strong. Brianna is going to be leaving us in the fall, graduating from NCC, as it will be at least one other videographer. A third from NCC has already left and moved on to postgraduate work, but I'm looking to hire some more people. We did score an excellent addition to our staff. Andy Anderson, who had been doing my job for the Easton, Connecticut TV79, moved, and because he moved, he left town, so he could no longer represent that particular station. That station just folded up its tents, gave away all of its equipment, but Andy, who's now living in Bridgeport, is happy to come and work with us and shoot meetings for us. So we've got all of his experience to draw upon as well too. I'll bring this up under new business, but I think it's time for us to do a new viewer survey. We haven't done one for 2 years, and I'll go over some questions that we'd like to reprise from the past survey, which was 2 years ago, so that we can see what kind of comparisons we've had in terms of growth, etc. So, happy to answer any questions on programming. Oh, a couple other things that we've done, I forgot to mention in the report there. I've amped up the Inside Town Hall series, where we interview department heads, chairs of boards and commissions. I did a really nice meeting a week and a half ago with the Sewer Commission, of all people, and that thing is doing really well. I had some fun in post-production. It sort of was a topic that lent itself to visuals, as you can imagine. But they told a very compelling story about, what the Public Works Director at Gentile referred to as the most important piece of infrastructure in this town. More important than the schools, more important than the train stations or the library, the sewer system. Replacement cost would be hundreds of millions of dollars. So it was a chance to get some do's and don'ts, what not to flush down the John, what to do with things that you can't flush, where should you take them, etc. And the Community Matters series, the other sort of parallel series, also doing well, interviewing folks in the community and nonprofits and NGOs as well too. So we're doing well in terms of programming, still getting the programming from the Darien Men's Association, Greenwich Men's Association, Westport Museum, Darien Library. The Darien Library is still doing a lot of virtual presentations and in-person presentations in their auditorium, but they are approximately, as best I can guess, about 6 months behind in processing those and archiving them on their own YouTube channel. But as soon as something new goes up, if it's still got legs, if it's still evergreen enough, I put that on TV79 as well too, and I link to that in the program guide also. Any questions?
As I mentioned, filling in for you at the department heads meeting, how outstanding the Inside Town Hall series is that you've done, and said to all the department heads who are sitting there, recognizing the work that they do for the town,
Yeah.
and how important they are to the town. But
Yeah.
in addition to that, the interviews are really interesting.
Thank you.
They are. I've learned a lot watching them, and every one of them is really interesting.
Well, it's a lot
they
of
have
these,
important jobs.
yes, they do, and some people recognize the face, but don't know what it is that they do. I mean, who knows what a sewer commission does? I mean, who knows what the town health director does? The town clerk. I mean, really important job, but when I do those interviews, I'm kind of channeling C-SPAN and asking, basic questions. I try to keep it light, it's fun. I love doing them, so.
But going into budget season, it's important.
Yes.
So
Yes.
it was probably been, 5 years since you've done the last?
Yeah, there's been huge turnover in some of those departments and jobs. And I'm still having some trouble getting some chairs of various boards and commissions, but I think the more I do, the more they see, how come I haven't been interviewed yet? And they'll want to get interviewed as well too. Speaking of budget season, We are already ramping up coverage. The Board of Selectmen starts its budget review process on Monday. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, they go through the entire proposed budget, department by department, page by page. It's not exactly compelling television to see these people sitting around the table with books in front of them going over it, but they talk about each of the departments, what the ask is for the upcoming budget year. They ask questions, do they really need this, do they need that, was it a lot of capital expense, etc. And in the program guide that's coming out tomorrow, I've been able to list all the departments that are going to be discussed on each of the 3 evenings. So if you're really interested in the fire department, you know you got to watch on Tuesday evening. But they will be in there as well too. I'll talk about budget in a couple of minutes. I'm not anticipating.
That's going to be in the weekly newsletter?
That's in the weekly program guide that goes out on Friday.
I'll do the, I looked at my schedule and I can do the timestamps. I'll just be late on one day where I have to do all.
Okay.
So I'll be
Great.
able to do
That's good.
if there's one meeting of the Board of Selectmen that need timestamps, it's that for people who want to go in and see the specifics of a budget.
Mike and I have been talking about the value of the timestamps that Board of Finance delivers me an agenda for that evening's meeting within an hour of the meeting being over, and it has the timestamps on there when each agenda item came up for discussion, starting with call to order at 000 and then all the way down. So it's very easy to watch a meeting and go directly to what it is you're interested
And
in.
especially planning and zoning, you know.
P&Z does the same thing.
Jeremy thinks it's more valuable for him than he does for the public and for his staff, that when they have to go and check what was said, they can go right to that part of the meeting.
There was a senior town official who noticed that the Board of Education had done its marathon Saturday session,
I saw that.
which ran to 7 hours I think it was in 3 chunks. I mean, we couldn't, put
I
it
saw
all.
on YouTube that it was a 4-hour video is where they
There's a
stopped.
4-hour and then there's another 3-hour. And anyhow, this senior town official said to me, "Can you do timestamps for that?" And I said, "No, I'm not going to look through a 7-hour meeting to do timestamps." And I tried to communicate to this person that that's really the responsibility of the board or the commission, that as they're holding the meeting and going down the agenda, it takes 30 seconds to write
Taking
down.
minutes anyway.
But they are doing, the Board of Education does do timestamps, they just only put it in their minutes. a
In
week
their
later.
minutes, yes.
They put it,
Which-
and you can't click
You can't
through.
click on
You
it,
have to go
right.
from one document
Right.
to their video.
So we're working to encourage more boards and commissions to do that, because if it's properly formatted, I think within Vimeo, you can actually click on the timestamp and be taken directly to that piece of the Vimeo playback. Cecil can speak more to how that works.
And we're also, as the Technology Committee finishes up their business, we have made multiple appeals to include Notify Me, which every town around here has, where citizens can go in and proactively be notified, opt-in of meetings of commissions, so that when a Board of Finance meeting pops up, they get an alert, there's a Board of Finance meeting. YouTube TV can do it, and I don't think there's anything that will increase viewership more than someone getting an alert saying the Board of Finance meeting has just been posted, or the Board of Selectmen's meeting has just been posted, or whatever hot topic there is, to remind people to go.
Do you know what the status of the website redo is by the town?
The last time I talked, she was talking to different vendors on some of the, because it's ARPA money, and so she was, had to hold up to get the budget done, and I think she wants to get the budget done. I haven't talked to her in a month or so, but we did get a questionnaire from, we told them before, but we also got a questionnaire from them asking anything that we might want included, which was nice. Well, you got that thing, you sent it to me.
Yeah.
From the chairman of the committee.
Oh, from, yes, Mr.
John.
Zabratski from the IT committee, right.
So technology, Cecil, how's the audio on the CanDAO?
You're on mute.
You're on mute.
Am I not? Yes.
Yeah.
I've had to crank up the volume to hear you guys clearly because you're not particularly close to a microphone. But I can hear you clearly.
Yeah, I think right now the audio that you're getting is from my computer that's in the middle of the table and not the Candow, because I think there was an adjustment when I was hooking up the Candow of audio that I did not select. And I'll figure that out next time to solve that problem, because they've got phenomenal audio speakers, so it's something that I've done in the setup. But the three of you guys look great on the screen, and you don't know how many hours.
We are great.
You don't know how many hours of practice time it took to get this thing to work, and all it needed was an Ethernet connection because the town Wi-Fi isn't strong enough for a consistent broadcast.
But they're just on Zoom, are they not?
They're on Zoom. Yeah,
They're on Zoom. So we're looking at a Zoom screen.
for a Zoom screen.
The question is, how do we look to them through the Candow?
Really small.
Yeah. So for some reason, the other thing I don't know, they're a Chinese company, and you send an email and it takes 24 hours to get a response. So my email for tonight will be, because it's supposed to search for who's ever speaking at the table and center on them. That's what the meeting owl does, and it used to do that. So I'll have to check with them on what setting I've not made correctly, that it isn't going to whoever the speaker is. So we'll work on that.
You know, you do know you've got two screens, right? One pointed in Jim's direction, one pointed in your direction.
Well, that's the Candow.
That's the Candow
That's
that's doing
Candow.
that.
I don't have any control of that.
We had one screen before across the top, and one that was just roaming, going in a large circle. So-
The going back to the meeting owl, when the founder came down here 7 years ago to give us an early prototype demo. And the reason they have the ones where you can see the whole room is they thought that when people were coming into a meeting externally, if they just saw the speaker, they couldn't get a sense of the room and how many people were in the room and who was getting up and leaving and who was coming back, that they wanted to replicate the experience as if you were in the room and you could see everyone there and not just the people that were speaking. But the camera's supposed to be alternating with the shot of the speaker as well as the whole room, so I'll have to work on why that part isn't working.
Yeah, you can kind of piece it together because you can see the big TV screen in both the upper and the lower
Yeah.
screen, so you can see where they would fit together.
Yeah, well, the good news is I can send a part of this video to them and they can take a look at it, because they figured out one other problem that I had. Anything else from a technical nature?
Just for what it's worth, I just clicked on pin and pinned the Candow image so that it's now, large in the middle, and that is actually easier to look at. And Robert and David are up at the top with me in little tiny pictures, but we're still bigger than you are.
So have you selected gallery?
If you go up to view, no, what I did was I right-clicked on the actual image that's coming from the Candow, and you get a pop-up that has a couple of things in it, one of which is chat, and the other one which is either pin or remove pin.
Keep talking for a minute, would you?
No, that worked great.
I thought it was coming with it. So that works better?
Yeah.
Better.
Good.
Okay.
And Darien TV79.com works great, and the more we can build that as the brand, it makes, we only have to promote one brand, and everything's there, and the ease of being able to look at the agenda and then to go back to look at the video, where you don't have to close out one thing and open up another, that you can do two things simultaneously, really makes it so much more usable. So we talked about the Candow. We'll look at the video, and most committees have chosen either to do all virtual or all in person. We have not really had any requests for a hybrid meeting, but we wanted, since we had this, we wanted to see if it worked, so that it, either that or would be a doorstop for the.
I won't speak at a school, but I will tell you that there was one particular virtual meeting that was held recently. I shared the information with Mike. And it was in the middle of a very important vote that was being taken on a very important contract. As the vote was being taken, in the background you could hear what sounded like somebody having breathing problems. It actually was somebody snoring. Snoring in the meeting in the middle of a vote. And I sent this to the chair of that particular body, and I said, "Can I use this in a promo?" And he said, "Oh my God, that's what that was. I heard that noise." And I said something to the effect of, "Another reason to have a meeting in person," you know, because you got to have real brass ones to fall asleep and start snoring in the middle of an in-person meeting.
Budget update.
Well, one other thing, let me make one other little caveat to those of you who subscribe to Altice Optimum Cablevision. I made the mistake of doing something to my account, long story, but they were changing my account in some way. And as a result of doing that, my upload speeds were throttled back permanently to 10 megabytes a second.
Oh, wow.
Download speeds still 200, but Dave and I had heard about this on the Area 9 Cable Council when they presented this, but I thought, well, I'm not going to get involved with doing that, and sure enough, one alteration to the account, and I'm permanently locked in at 10 megabytes a second upload speed. And when I spoke to the senior people in government affairs who were very good to us as members of Area 9, she said, "Well, most people want fast download speeds." And I said, "Not when you're trying to upload a 5 gigabyte meeting to our server. What can we do?" She said, "There's nothing you can do. You could get fiber." And I thought, well, okay, maybe it's time to get fiber because they're starting at $39.99 for new installation. Not for existing customers. The starting price is $159.99 a month. So I'm waiting for Frontier, which apparently is finally opening up some installations in Darien, and I think I may have to bite the bullet and go for that. Because it's a long, slow upload speed, I can tell you otherwise. So,
Well, if you happen to subscribe to the Darien Community Center speaker series and do it on Zoom, in the middle of the last meeting, Frontier went down completely in the whole neighborhood. They lost their phones, they lost their internet connection, and people had paid.
I know, that's an expensive
You know,
fee.
$30 and midway through her speech, and there was no way of taping it. And Frontier said, you know, they were building a lot, and
Yeah.
they had to reconfigure
Exactly.
something. So now they've had to get Optum, well, they have a solution to, because it almost went out today for a minute and then came back on, so I don't know what the problem they had today. But, so has anyone here taken up Frontier on their $39.95 Wi-Fi offer?
But we have Frontier, but I don't think we got that price.
Well, on Facebook is the only, in the mail, they charge $59.95, on Facebook, they charge $39.95.
And I noticed it did go out today, briefly.
It went out about between 10:30 and 11, between.
And you have fiber, or you have the
No.
regular, you have the
Regular
cable?
yeah.
Hey, Jim,
Yes.
do you have Frontier fiber in your neighborhood?
It's
Not yet.
coming soon. I got another mailing, they keep saying it's coming. They don't have it yet, but when that truck comes down the street, I will throw myself in front of the truck.
That goes back to the early days of cable and the truck chasing.
Sign up for Frontier and keep your Optimum.
That's what I'm gonna do. I won't, trust me.
And you can do your uploads on Frontier
Yeah.
and do everything else on Optimum.
That's right, and that's my plan.
But the woman from Frontier would not put in writing that the Frontier people would not take out my Altice wiring.
Right. Over my dead body, they're gonna
That-
dike
they-
out that cable,
Yeah.
I can tell you.
Because someone told me
Yeah, well,
that
that's just nonsense because, you know, you can say, hey, no, I'm using that for a different purpose.
Yep, yep.
yeah, I heard from some authoritative that that was part of the deal, because that made it much more difficult to switch
Right,
back to
right.
Altice if they had to reinstall
That's right.
all of their wiring.
No way,
Yeah.
Jose.
And,
That sounds like restraint of trade or something.
I think Pura would be interested in that.
and, you know, I asked, she said she would put it in writing that they would not do it, I never got that email. So we'll see.
But we digress.
But anything else? In new business, did you want?
Oh, let me do the budget update?
Yeah, budget update, and then
Yeah.
on new business, did you want feedback on your survey?
Yes, I'm gonna go over the questions as well too. The budget request that we put in for the fiscal year starting July 1st showed a $2,000 annual increase for camera operators, $200 increase for software maintenance and support, and operating supplies flat at $150 a year. So our total ask is something like $27,850. That's from the town side. We still get money from Area 9 as well too. I think I added it up, we got over, bless you, about $10,000 last year, which we can split a little bit toward camera operators and a little bit toward equipment. But the last piece of technology, the last grant that we got from Area 9, we had to spend most of it on replacing a data video encoder box in our booth because we lost the ability to go live from the auditorium. Our crack technician is going to be making a house call tomorrow. One of the cameras in room 206 is out. We don't have any audio in the booth to monitor, at least from the auditorium, although we were able to do a live shoot from there Monday evening. So, you know, the equipment's getting old. I mean, we're in the 16th year, I think, of operating. Isn't that right, Dave? 16 years?
Yeah.
We were young, spry chickens, I'll tell you. Dave Deaver and I passed each other on our way into the senior center the other day. He on his cane and Maya on my cane. And he was looking down at the ground and I looked up and I just went, Deaver, what happened to us? But, so I don't expect any problems in terms of getting the budget request. We are
Hey,
a
Jim,
rounding error. Yes?
can I ask, did you get the email I sent you the day after I sent you the budget numbers? Which says that Elementor is changing its pricing model?
I did see that, yes. I did.
So, there may be repercussions from that.
We have a little extra money on the side we can, you know, pay toward that if we need to. But Cecil was very helpful.
We're only paying them, whatever it is, $99 a year right now.
Yeah.
Even if it went to 200, that wouldn't be a huge thing.
And that's for, what does Elementor do for our website?
Well, it is the development system in which the website is written.
Right.
And so you have to license that every year, and the licensing fee for that's $99. But in the meantime, they are also giving us free hosting
Right.
as a part of that.
Yeah.
So we're getting a real bargain from them right now.
Yeah. The website's fast and it's, seems to be pretty dependable. I haven't had any problems. I check it every day.
You know where it's hosted? Belgium.
Great. We're paying them in euros. Cecil was very helpful in answering a couple of questions from the town administrator about what do we spend money on software and maintenance and support, and I've heard nothing else from her since, so I think we're golden. New business, should I move on to the viewer survey?
Yeah.
So, it seems like it was longer ago, but I checked on MailChimp, and the last survey we did was just about 2 years ago. And I'd like to repeat it with the same questions, maybe ask a couple more. I sent around copies of the results of the survey. I have the actual raw questions. And we moved to MailChimp 2 years ago because that's where we do our weekly program guide from. So it was a seamless transition to use the existing mailing list and get those people to respond. We only got a total of 109 respondents to the survey 2 years ago. I think we should get a much larger sample, and I'm going to enlist the support of
Wait, Jim, how
everybody.
many did you send it to?
I'm sorry?
How many people did you send it to, or households?
Well, it went out to the same 1,100 subscribers to the program guide several weeks in a row, but I think we can also promote
That's like
it.
a 9% response rate. That's pretty high.
I want more. I want bigger numbers. I want everybody responding. I mean,
Feels like the right length, 11 questions.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to wait, bog them down. And the nice thing that Cecil did in the results that I sent out to you was he encapsulated some of the key words on that last page there, Carrie. I don't have that in front of me, but some of the key words that people were using in their answers. For example, how many times did the word thank you come up? 24. Great, 20. Appreciate, 6. And then it goes down the list. Good, helpful, fantastic, grateful, incredible, invaluable, lucky. It's like, did you go through a thesaurus on these, or these are all actual people's choice of words, I guess?
Chatbot.
Your name's in there too.
Yeah, and my name is in there too. Oh, yeah. There were a number of suggestions from people, as there are every year. Surprisingly, one of the things that I'd like to see more is sporting events. I don't think they know about BAFB yet,
What's going on with that?
Like, what's wrong with them,
Yeah.
But if you have a chance to look at this questionnaire again, if there's anything else you think we should add, anything new, I'm open to adding, an additional question, not maybe a question, but another answer option.
Some you can update, like, it's funny, how do you watch television? And 26.3% said the internet, but was that they could only get the internet through Optimum or Frontier.
Right.
But in theory, Verizon or T-Mobile might be, so they might be needed to be added to the list as sources to the internet, but the internet in itself, that doesn't really say where they get, how they watch television through the internet.
Are we interested in which streaming service that they use, or is that like YouTube TV or Hulu, or like if I get TV through the internet, I have to use one of the streaming services? So I just didn't know if we were interested in that.
Yeah, that's what I do now.
Yeah.
You use YouTube, right?
I use YouTube
Right.
TV.
I do too.
Yeah, we could ask that question.
Yeah.
We're not on Roku. Someday we might be on Roku.
It's not expensive.
Yeah. But let's
Just to
see.
be clear, YouTube TV is separate from YouTube.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, yes, I know.
You know.
It's expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was highly recommended to me if I was going to cut the cord, which I'm not inclined to do at this point. Yeah, but look at the survey results, or if you
Yeah.
think of anything else you want to add, let's just add that in. I will make sure that we get this thing promoted heavily. I'll get Monica's newsletter to promote it. I'll, enlist the help of other people who have mailing lists. Men's Association might help us out as well too, because we've been pretty nice to them. I'd like to get as many responses as we can possibly get.
Yeah, I'll see
More
it.
data is better.
Surprisingly, that the Darien Men's Club weekly poll, there's 300 members.
Yeah.
And it gets from 160 to 200 responses
Yeah,
to the one question poll,
right.
which is extraordinary.
People have a lot of time on their
Yeah,
hands.
they have a lot of time.
But the poll's interesting. I answer it,
Yes.
and people are always curious.
Yeah.
They love polls.
Could do a little promo.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, use our own channel to promote our own survey?
Yeah.
I
Have
like
you
that.
taken our survey yet?
Yep. Well, that's what I'm curious about, because I mean, the trend, I think, from the previous years clearly is that people are watching meetings on the Vimeo platform as opposed to watching it on TV, unless it's live coverage.
I hope
of
they're
a
watching that on the
particular-
Darien TV79 platform.
Well, it's still Vimeo, but it's
Yeah, but-
archived on demand as opposed to, I think I'll turn on channel 79 tonight and see if the sewer commission is on.
Vimeo's like the truck that shoots the game for ESPN. No one says the name of the truck. They say they watched it on ESPN.
Right, right.
Vimeo is just a backhaul.
But I think it's going to be curious to see. I mean, Mike and I, when we're doing, like, we're at an RTM meeting, and, you know, we're both watching the YouTube feed in the auditorium, and there might be one or two other people that are watching it on YouTube live, but then when the meeting is up on the website, Vimeo, you know, it gets dozens of views after the fact.
For sure.
Yeah, Board of Education meetings as well, too. Much larger, well, the Board of Education meetings are streamed live on YouTube, and by the next morning, like, so they have a Tuesday night meeting, Wednesday morning I go to YouTube and download it and then process and put it up on our website. You know, I can tell how many people watched that meeting. I don't know if they're unique viewers, but the average Board of Ed meeting on YouTube, 300-400 views.
That's pretty good.
Live as it was happening that night, you know, those are
Yeah.
engaged parents, and that doesn't count the people in the room, which can sometimes be dozens and dozens.
Anybody else have anything else? So on Robert's Rules of Order, help me on this, because technically Brianna is recording us and we're doing the CanDAO as a test. So as we adjourn the meeting, if you guys could stay on, I want to find out what happens if I take my computer and leave the meeting. Does the CanDAO take over the audio or not? But if we could take a vote to adjourn, we'll do that. Brianna can keep the video running just to record what Vimeo does, or what Vimeo does, what the CanDAO does.
Sure.
Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.